Truth is, football is the gold of sports. Depending on what side of the life you're on. If you're in North America, probably you disagree, but soccer is the best. Samba boys, the Nigerian in Africa and all over the world. And this the football segment of the show is still News Social Sport. My name is Sadadeja Adebowale, and together with me today is going to be Olale Khan, and of course Sheyi Ajayi. Follow us if you like the show, like, subscribe, and share to your friends, and let's go viral together. All right, perfect. We'll be starting off on the UEFA Champions League games that will be happening later this week. And I'm going to be getting your predictions on what you think. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think is going to lose? Sheyi, I'm going to start with you since Kachi is not around, and you are the next biggest thing to Oracle. Man City versus Bayern Munich. It's going to be a dicey one. City looks right now, they look unstoppable. Whether Haaland is playing, whether it's Julian Alvarez, KDB seems to be getting his groove back compared to what we saw after the World Cup, after the poor outing at the World Cup with Belgium, and Jack Grealish is now the player everybody expects him to be, although I've seen this for quite a while, but it's the guy everybody expects him to be for quite a while now. Brian Mares as well. And of course, on the other side, Thomas Tuchel is the guy that Pep Guardiola could not defeat for a very long time at Chelsea. Even when Chelsea were not looking so good. I think he did it over the course of the year they won the Champions League as well, defeating him in the FA Cup, in the league, and the final of the Champions League 3 times in the course of that season. Sheyi, and this is going to be going down at the Etihad Stadium. Where's your pendulum swinging for this one?
Yeah, obviously this is the tie of the round, and we're talking of two good things. Technically, the way they play their football, and two good coaches also. Talking about the top coaches up there, we will try as much as possible to forget whatever happened to Thomas Tuchel while his last days. Yeah, his last days in Chelsea. Like you rightly said, it was still the last man that defeated Guardiola team in the Champions League final. And with the arsenal of the Bayern team, talking about the wealth of experience and the technicality we are talking about, it's going to be a serious nut for Guardiola to crack. If he's able to move past this particular tie, I think he's good for the trophy. Probably a 50% leg to really lift this trophy.
It's a Real Madrid.
Yeah, there's a Real Madrid and Napoli, because Napoli is another tricky tie. But for now, if you focus on Bayern Munich, I think it's going to be a quite explosive game. Everything to play for on the night, because I think this tie is going to be a 2-legged. It's not going to be a 1-legged. But I see City just probably sneaking a win this time around on the night.
Oh wow, that's a big one. Alali, what about you? What do you think is going to happen? City night, just like Sheyi, or Bayern Munich night? Bayern knows how to beat the all guys anyway, so ask on PSG.
I think one thing we'll be able to learn from the Champions League, like in the past few years, is I think some teams are just built for this occasion. And looking at, I'm just having a glance through at the Bayern Munich lineup for this their last game. They won away to Freiburg. Soma in goal. You have Juan Cancelo, Benjamin Pavard, the Lights. The Alphonso Davies from the midfield, Oswa Kimmich, Musiala, Mane, Muller, Sane, Serge Gnabry. Now,
wow,
this looks like a team that can. This looks like a team that can beat City over 2 legs. But now, I think they are struggling with a striker's identity. But if you look at the combination of those boys, goals can come anywhere.
Anyway, exactly.
Honestly, it comes down to who wins the midfield battle and who is more defensively disciplined between the two teams. Because I think one problem City has probably encountered in the Champions League in recent years has always been being that defensively disciplined, not getting carried away with whatever they are doing in attack. But being the first leg game played at Etihad and the way they've been playing of late, I think City will urge this, but it could be of a, let me say, I see both teams scoring thereabout. I see both teams scoring thereabout.
Okay.
But I think City will win. It might not be with an high margin.
Okay. When you have an Lallana and KDB in the team, that cannot be questioned anyways. But looking at on the flip side, they have Musiala, Sadio Mane, Muller, Segenabi,
you can't prevent those boys from scoring goals.
My God, it's gonna be crazy. Anyways, I want to stay with you. So you're going with City, just like Sheyi. I'm going with Bayern. I think it's going to be a 1-0 victory for Bayern, for me personally. But don't follow me. I never get it right. So if you do, you are doing so at your own peril. I want to stay with you. Bayern Munich versus Inter Milan.
Benfica versus Inter Milan.
Benfica versus Inter Milan. Inter Milan are just there, honestly. Benfica looks to me as the better side, if you ask me, more technically disciplined, tactically astute, and of course more determined when it comes to situation like this. And Inter Milan, we've never seen them in the Champions League except for 2010. I think that was the last time that we saw Inter Milan in the Champions League.
2011.
2011, yeah, 2010, 2011 season. That was the last time we saw them in the Champions League. So it's not their tournament, so to speak. So I won't be surprised.
Knockout competition on paper and based on performance in this year's Champions League, it might be easier for you to pick Benfica. But we all know the way knockout competition works. It's just one good game and it's all over, or it's just one bad game for the other team and it's all over. Inter Milan form in recent times have not been that impressive. I think they've just recorded probably one victory in the last 6 games, which was I think the last game they won was against Spezia in the league. That was March 10th. After then, they played 0-0 draw away to Porto, lost 1-0 to Juventus, lost 1-0 to Inter Milan. Both games at home. Play 1-1 with Juventus again in what do you call it?
In the
Coppa Italia.
Coppa Italia, yeah.
And they lost. They play a 1-1 draw. So it's not been that impressive, but I think Benfica should win this. Benfica should take this. Who's playing at home?
Benfica is playing at home, especially given that Benfica is playing at home.
I think I'll give this to Benfica because Inter Milan has been even struggling to score goals. They've not scored more than a single goal in the last 5 matches.
That's pretty bad.
So I think I'll give Benfica this one, probably by a slimmest of margin, 1-0.
Okay, perfect. Sheyi, what about you? Are you giving it to Benfica as well? So we'll make it a treble for the first time on the show.
Olawale did good justice to the analysis. Inter are quite struggling, if not for the issues of Juventus. I don't even think Inter should be close to the Champions League
sport
in the Italian league. I don't know if they seem not to know the best striker to play, either Dzeko or
Lautaro Martinez or Lukaku.
Or Lukaku. So, and we've also seen, I think this, Lisandro Martinez, right, happened to be one of their biggest
Lautaro Martinez
recently.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he forgot his scoring boots after the World Cup. Even before I think during the World Cup, he also.
I think that World Cup really is having that effect.
No. Don't get you guys wrong. After the World Cup, he came all all gone blazing. Then it fizzled out after a while. If you can remember, it was close to Osimhen on the scorer charts. Yeah, after the World Cup, but now he has fizzled out again.
Yeah. So obviously, I think that's the problem they're having right now. He's not firing all cylinders, and it seems Inter is finding it hard to score goals and to play the way they used to play. Benfica on the other side look to be the Portuguese champion already because they are coasting away. And what we've seen also this Champions League, they seem to be the dark horse, or let's say the surprise of the tournament. So I might just give them this particular win.
Don't forget they lost this weekend against Porto.
because they can afford to do that and they can prepare properly.
Yeah.
Trust me, this is the game they need to win. San Siro, you can never know what is going to happen. So I'm tipping them probably beat Inter Milan on the night.
Okay, I'm going to stay with you. Milan versus Napoli. Everybody felt Napoli is going to kill Milan in the league last week, including yourself, because you were already teasing Barkukachi 2 weeks ago that, they're going to murder you guys. And they came back smiling the following weekend. And now it's Napoli against Milan again at the San Siro this time around. It's going to be bloody, if you ask me. They are missing Victor Osimhen. Kvaratskhelia is definitely going to be playing. They have the young Simeone in their team, of course, Zelensky and the rest of the gang, like Angusia, a very formidable bench, if you ask me as well. But Milan, they struggle to get goals. They struggle to get the identity. Rafael Leao is the focal point of the attack. Once the guy is not playing very well, Milan can't score goals, or they find it difficult to score goals. So they are a little bit more predictable, in my humble opinion. And but given what we saw of 4-0 crushing just last week, it's not safe to say Milan will not win this one, or Napoli will win.
I think there's something about Champions League that we've seen over the years. It has played all through the years. When two teams from the same from the same competition, same league, thereabout, when they meet in the Champions League, most times it's better to throw out the form, right? And I think that is the dicey part for Napoli. The second fact is missing Osimhen is a big minus for them. Big minus. But at this point now, I think they need to just rely on the way they play. I think the Napoli team, the way they develop from defense to attack, is so fluid that even if they have a second striker or their third striker, they can actually, put the ball at the back of the net. But there's a way Osimhen complements those other guys, holds the ball, sprays his run, and makes himself available for the final pass or the final passes. I think they are going to miss that on the night. But for me, I'll still tip Napoli to win over 2 legs. And I actually think it's going to be 2 wins. San Siro and
the Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. That's a big call. Olale, do you agree with Sheyi on this one?
Yeah, I think when this draw was actually made, I personally felt it's going to be a Napoli this time. But the fact that Victor Osimhen is going to be missing out at least for the first leg, except Napoli is probably hiding some information away from what is well known in the public, is going to miss out. And for me, that makes the tie a 50-50. And considering the fact that the first leg is going to be played in Milan, and considering the fact that Milan just defeated Napoli not too long ago by 4 goals to, is it? I think 4 goals or 5 goals to
4 goals to nil. 4 goals to
I think that gives them that psychological advantage going into this tie. That plays into the minds of the Napoli players. The only person that could have probably made the difference into this game for them, I think, is Victor Osimhen. Now, we have to watch out for, like Debo rightly said, Rafael Leao, if he's in his element, Rafael Leao against De Lorenzo is going to be a big call. It's going to be a big day for how Napoli can contain Rafael Leao on that day. Will determine if they can leave San Siro with a draw in the first leg. As it stands now, I think Milan takes the first leg by 2-1.
Oh wow, that's a big one. And Malali, I'm going to stay with you. Real Madrid versus Chelsea. Chelsea, whenever they are wounded, that's when you should face Chelsea the most. But this Chelsea, Santiago Bernabeu. But this Chelsea team looks headless. They look clueless. They look tacticalless. That's the difference. In the past years, we probably would not say this, but with this one and bringing back Frank Lampard, I think I should even start with that. Why did they bring back Frank Lampard?
Because they don't know what they're
doing. Okay. Let's just put it together. I'm going to ask you those two questions. Why is Lampard brought back, and who do you think is going to defeat? Who's going to win? Because I see Chelsea losing at Real Madrid, at Santiago Bernabeu. Maybe not scandalously, but they're going to lose.
For me, I don't think I think it's a mismatch of hotel, as in this is just a mismatch. Real Madrid are in probably one of their best elements. We saw them destroying two teams prior to now, until yesterday when they lost to Villarreal. Benzema scored 2 hat-tricks. It will take an unbelievable, performance from Chelsea for them to even get away with a decent result. If I mean decent result, I mean them probably losing by a goal margin.
Yeah.
As it stands, I see a convincing victory for Real Madrid. I see at least a 2-goal margin victory, going to 3. Because from what I've seen from Chelsea, bringing back Lampard again just complicate things for me personally. I just don't know how they are going to survive it. I don't know what is going to add to that. I don't know the reason why they are doing this. Is it that the Enriques are not available now? They just or what is the main motivation?
Rafa Benitez does not have a job. I think Rafa Benitez is jobless.
They don't like
right now. I don't understand. This is the same thing that Lampard could not do anything with.
So I just think I don't understand. I think personally, I will have probably just was the guy that coached them against, which team was that? Liverpool.
Yeah, I prefer for the guy to stay at the end of the season.
At the end of the season, what was the drama?
What's the worst that can happen? Honestly, what's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. I think bringing Lampard in is just, for me, the only person that can probably gain from this is if Lampard could probably manage some decent results, just to project him for the next available job. That's the only thing I'm seeing here. Outside that, as far as Chelsea is concerned, the league is out of the way. There is nothing they can do in the league. So I just don't understand bringing Lampard. Just leave that interim manager. Let him finish his season. So, but don't let us drag it too much. I think Madrid is winning.
Sheyi, what about you? Madrid is winning convincingly on this one as well. Madrid on the beat.
Yeah, Ancelotti on the beat. Obviously, you cannot compare the two teams. Like Olawale said, mismatch. If you look at the team, if you look at even the coaches, it's a shame. But football will always be football. Like we mentioned earlier, every time that Chelsea won the Champions League, they were actually rubbish in the league and facing a particular challenge. This time around, the only difference, as far as I'm concerned, is that they don't have those differentials, those one-man
big moment players.
Yeah, big moment players that can decide the course of a match and that can be consistent.
They have to have that.
Okay. I can be consistent with it. And unfortunately, they have a coach that is still trying to,
to get an identity for himself.
Exactly, to get back on his feet. And I really don't think that will work for them in the Champions League. As far as I'm concerned, they are pressing a refresh button. They don't care about the Champions League. They just need someone that probably knows the club and knows some of the players, because we still have the likes of James and Pulisic in that team.
Yeah.
The way they can end the season, on a respectable note. Then they start all over.
Shay, can I ask you a question though? Is it possible to sack the owner of the club?
Unfortunately, it's not possible if you don't support the team. With my, that's
because honestly, I'm pretty sure Abramovich, wherever he is saying his head out like, damn, I created this team. I gave my everything. Abramovich lost at least £1 million on a weekly basis at Chelsea for the entire time that I was at Chelsea. And this is what they make of the team.
It's unfortunate, but they have to look to the future. In fact, at the end of the season, summer, you know what they call clearance sales. Clearance sale is going to happen in Chelsea. So everybody there should start.
Buy one, get one free. Buy Modric, get Enzo Fernandez for free. That would be interesting. Anyways, to the big one in the Premier League right now, Manchester City walloped Southampton 4-1. And Lallana back. KDB scoring as well. Providing the assist. Holland, Julian Alvarez scoring from the penalty spot. Jack Grealish as well. Lovely results. And the onus was on Arsenal. That's not won at Liverpool since Mikel Arteta was a player at Arsenal. And that was about 10 years ago, 2012, 11 years ago, to be precise. And the onus was on Arsenal to do something at Anfield. And really, it's difficult for Arsenal to win at Anfield. And I was watching the game where Arshavin scored those marvelous 4 goals, and Arsenal could not win. There was one that Arsenal played, a 1-1 draw against Liverpool at Anfield as well. Van Persie scored a penalty, I think it is 95th minute or 96th minute. And the next play, Arsenal conceded a penalty and Dale Count scored a penalty to keep the game at 1-1. So there's, even during the invisible years, Arsenal were not invisible at Anfield. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult task, equivalent task for the young Arsenal guys. Liverpool have not lost at home, except the game they lost against Leeds United. And it was a very big one. Arsenal, they were cruising 2-0. And the momentum changed after Granit Xhaka lost his head and decided to start fighting. They conceded that goal towards the end of the first half. The momentum built for Liverpool. And the second half looks like Liverpool were possessed. Mo Salah losing that penalty, trying to do the right thing, but he overthought it. He lost the penalty. And immediately Bobby came on. I knew there was no way on that Bobby was not going to score. Bobby has scored 8 goals against Arsenal. Every one of them coming on at the Anfield. And I knew Bobby was going to score. Olale, you know who I blame for this capitulation, if you can permit me to use that word, is Mikel Arteta. The game was not well done, handled, in my own opinion. Jacob's first game for Arsenal was against Sporting Lisbon. It was not convincing. It was far from convincing, and that was the first guy you thought to bring on. I know we argue behind closed doors on this one. Zinchenko, for all the intricacy that he brings, bringing in is a defensive liability. No disrespect to him, he's a good player, but defensively he cannot do the basics. And we saw it, and you alluded to the fact that Bukayo Saka could have been removed. I don't agree. I feel when you have Saka, you'll be like, oh, yeah, we can still do something. And trying to give excuse on the flip hand to Mikel Arteta, Granit Xhaka was not fit for this game. Gabriel was not fit for this game. You could see it. Ben White have been struggling with a gastic situation for the past couple of weeks, but Arsenal does not have another right back. He's playing nonetheless. So those are kind of excuses that I can give to Mikel Arteta. But I feel he could have managed the game better. He had Jorginho, he had Kieran. He could have managed the game better. Where do you think the game was? Because to me, it feels like a loss to Arsenal. Anyway, for Arsenal, to me, even though they were lucky to get away with the draw, keeping in at 2-0 in the first half, if they could have maintained that 2-0 in the first half, we could have had a different situation. But where do you think the game was not being controlled well for Arsenal? I don't want to use the word lost. Where do you think it was not well controlled for Arsenal? And where do you think Liverpool lost it? Because Liverpool had all the chance in the world to win this game.
Yeah. So personally, going to this game, for the fact that Arsenal has not won the league in 19 years, they are at every opportunity they had to play any big team. You just always feel like they have a point to prove. Playing at Anfield, you feel like, okay, even though Liverpool is not in form, can Arsenal still do it? The pressure is getting to them, all this. Two things happen at the beginning. I think Arsenal's performance and the form they've been in going into this game actually helped them to settle quite better in this game. Especially, we've seen in recent times the way they perform at Anfield. I think they have a very terrible record in recent times against Liverpool and Man City, especially away from home. Those guys have a way of scoring 4 goals at will.
4 or 5 goals, yeah.
You see the difference, especially at the beginning of the match. On the side of the Liverpool too, I think there was they offer Arsenal a bit of respect earlier on. Even at that, I think Liverpool had a more coordinated approach up until when they considered that first goal. I still think they were a bit more better then, not significantly better, just a bit, because both teams were trying to size themselves up. And I think that first goal, the way everything went on, it's the pass was intended for Saka, it goes to Martinelli. After the 1-0, Arsenal were in charge. They were in control. Typical Liverpool, line defense, but as we've known them to do this season, they've not been pressing opponent the way they've been pressing before. Arsenal got the second goal. Alexander-Arnold was nowhere. Konate was dragged out of position. Van Dijk was the only guy in the middle. But thereafter, the crowd tries to rally them up. I think Arsenal did well up until that 2-0. They were probably unlucky to concede. But again, that goal was well worked. But you can still say probably Arsenal was probably...
They slept, yeah.
They were a bit unlucky to concede at that moment. And we know the way football works. The momentum just shifted. Liverpool were playing at home. They have everything, the ginger in the second half. Now, this is where game management now comes in. Liverpool were better in the first 15 minutes, which is what you expect. The first 15 minutes of the second half. That's the least you expect from such team. Getting to the 20th minute mark, get to the 25 minutes mark. Within that period, they missed the penalty. Within these 25 minutes I'm talking about, I couldn't see any reaction from the Arsenal bench. And that is where my own major problem came from. I think Arteta mismanaged that league because Liverpool, even despite they had all the opportunities to have even equalized earlier on, and they gave you that chance for you to quickly do something about that team. I think what he needed the most was probably to add a body to the midfield. Even the substitution came in, I think 78 minutes, which for me it was significantly too late.
Yeah,
because you've lost control of the midfield. I think he needed to probably change something instead of him adding that third center back, which is like probably a player you are not that confident of. Somebody that you need to ease in.
It's even more difficult when you have a Robodin that you are not confident in.
Exactly.
Now how they get up to it.
it looks very.
A
When the two of them
mismatch.
were even playing together, they were even more confused than when you had two guys at the center.
Two guys.
Yeah, so I think that submission was very wrong. I think we have, for me personally, I was expecting to have added more body to the midfield. Even if you don't want to remove Zinchenko, you could have probably drafted Kerontieni to the left back, move Zinchenko into the midfield. You can change your midfield formation to a, let me say, to a diamond midfield. Get more body there. Your three-man attack was not really. Your two wingers were at least Martinelli worked for the first half, fine, but in the second half, most of his one-on-ones were not there. He was not really doing. Bukayo Saka for me was not in the game for like 90 minutes. Debo said probably will not remove him. I don't think he has gotten to that stage of his. Probably will still get there. He has not gotten to that stage that I will say is that guy. I can't just remove him. He can do something out of nothing. I think he could have probably changed the structure of that team and play a four-man midfield in such a way
to neutralize. Yeah, to neutralize the.
And the two guys you have forward can probably drift to the flanks when it is required of them. I think game management was worse because Liverpool were there for the taking.
Yeah.
But Arteta didn't manage the game well, and at the end of the day, Arsenal were now lucky to leave
to leave with the points. Okay, all right, perfect, Olali. Sheyi, I'm going to come to you. Arsenal were lucky to leave Anfield with the points. Man City, this is the time for them. They smell blood already. One game outstanding. Arsenal are still going to the Etihad. It looks like game over if you ask me for the league. One, do you think Man City would win this league at the end of the day? And my second question would be, do you think coming out second at the end of this keenly contested Premier League title between Arsenal and Manchester City, of course. Arsenal, over the past 5 seasons, they've never finished anywhere near 72 points. This is the best point they've had in the last 5 seasons. And we still have like 9 games or 8 games left to play. So they've done pretty well for themselves. I'm pretty sure their title ambitions, or should I say their goals or mission, changed in the middle of the season when they saw what the team did. This was never their intention. Do you think we should consider it a failure coming out second? And do you think Man City would definitely win this league now that they can smell blood? This is what Pep Guardiola is good at.
Yeah, you're actually right. I think, was it last season? I think Guardiola team had a run of close to 9 to 10 matches to peep Liverpool to the league. I think something like that. If it's not last season, then before the last. I think last season.
It was last season.
It was last season, right? So if you're looking for a team that's going to do that, I think it's obviously Man City, and with Haaland in that team, you know that the league games are most likely like a winnable match for them. If you also look at what they did last week with Liverpool, even without Haaland, they played quite well, fluid football, and they scored 4 good goals without Haaland. So obviously, that's a team you can put your money on to win the league if Arsenal falters. However, I don't think the game against Liverpool is a decider for us to think City are going to win this league. I think there's still some games to be played that will actually be deciders. And for me, I know Olawale mentioned earlier today about most teams that play well at the tail end of the season, regardless of the number of games they are playing, they tend to be the team that wins the league and probably win one other bigger cup with it. And probably that is what we are seeing in the Man City team. But I still think the number of games will tell, on the fitness, on the possibility of injuries. We've seen what we've started seeing what is happening to the Manchester United team, and that is because of the number of games they're exposed to. So for me, I still think the advantage is still advantage Arsenal.
Arsenal.
What would have been the biggest problem is had it been Arsenal lost this Liverpool. There's a possibility of them coming up with a chain of losses afterwards, and that can definitely spell doom for the Arsenal team. But as it is, I think they have the time. I think they have the rest period to prepare for each of those games, compared to Guardiola team that needs to readjust to Champions League, FA Cup, and back to the league. We can say that, of course, Guardiola and his cohorts are the best people for this, but we need to understand that they are human, they are not machines. So obviously, the fatigue is going to set in at a point, and there will also be times that our good friend will also probably overcalculate.
He will capitate again.
Exactly.
Shea, I'm going to ask you one thing, and I know most people will not agree with me with what I'm about to say. It's crazy. It's crazy, and I understand that some situations are not to be touched. And this is in regard to what happened with Federico Valverde last night against Behena. Behena, while they were on the field, told Valverde that he would not have a child. And Valverde is a kid that just lost, that had a miscarriage scare with his wife a couple of months ago, I think in January. And he's still living with that torture and the memory of that, And this guy told him that on the field of play, and Valverde went to the parking lot after the match, as a matter of fact, to punch Berna. I know people say violence is not accepted. There's no place in it in the food, in our sports, and it should be banned. But I think if Valverde is giving 8-match ban, then Bayana should have at least 6 or 5 or 4 too. Because sometimes we just allow the provocator, we let them go and face the person that retaliated, the retaliator. And it's for me, it's not equitable. I don't know what you guys feel about that before we go on the show today. Sheyi, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Debo. I think it's a very, number one, a very sensitive issue.
Situation.
Situation. I think for me, I'm just going to analyze it this way. What happened was on the pitch of play, and I think Valverde, as a professional, decided not to act while on the pitch. So I don't see the reason why he needs to be punished for whatever he did off the pitch. Touching family and touching that kind of sensitive thing, it obviously will provocate the person in question. We need to also understand that these are footballers, they are professionals, they are still human, just like all of us. So for me, I think the Football Association should leave it. If Berna is so much pained, I understand.
You should go to court.
Go to the police. He should file an assault case and let it be taken up that way. But when it comes to football, I think that should just they should let it lie, because also we've been talking about. I think I'll bring in the Lukaku issue in. It was racially abused. He scored a goal, he celebrated, and he was given a ban for that. He was given a red card. Imagine that. Now someone.
The Italians are the worst. I'm sorry to say that.
Now someone that decided not to act while he was playing football and decided to do what he did behind the scene. I think at that point, it's a civil case, not a professional football case. It's better for us to just isolate those cases. Let Berna take it up with the police or whoever.
With the authorities.
Football is football. For me, That's it.
All right, perfect. Olale, what about you?
Yeah. Okay. My own point. I'll start from here. Sorry, I don't want to. I will digress a little bit. I think when it comes to issue of racism, I think the Italians are unapologetic
They are
about
not. They are. They are.
about how they feel about the issue. For them, it is not an issue. I think
Exactly.
FIFA and the rest of the world are not just ready to accept it. I think there was a chance sometime about
Against Sule Montari and
that's the way they are.
Balotelli.
And I think
They did the same
even
thing.
you've seen that some of their big players coming out to defend some of these fans when they do some of these things. That shows you their mindset and how they see it. Probably closely followed by Spain. Then the rest of Europe can share the remaining small one. So going back to the case of Valverde now, I understand there's trash talking when it comes in football. You try to gain advantage, you try to get into people's head. But I think as that guy, as the guy you are, you should know where to draw the line. When it's getting personal, family and those kind of things, I think it's very, very, let me say, it's coward. It is not something that should be from somebody who is probably that gets himself involved in a sport that involves people who are very brave. It's the last thing that is expected of you to go that kind of, as in to that kind of
that low,
trying to attack people or trying to mock people because of personal tragedy.
Exactly.
I think there is no room for that. Now, for the fact that Valverde did not react on the field, personally, I don't think it's a sporting offense issue. I don't see any reason why, unless if he has reacted on the pitch, you can even have a reason to say you want to ban him or so, or you want to give him. But for the fact that he didn't, if the guy is like Sheyi said, if he's so upset, let him report.
You should go to the authorities.
Let the case die.
All right. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Right now, third quarter is gone. The Lakers are still leading the Utah Jazz 99-95. Let's see how it pans out. We'll be talking more about the playoffs. I'm pretty sure we'll be playoff seasons next time out. And of course, we'll be reviewing the Champions League. Thank you very much, guys, for watching us. Please like, subscribe, and share our video to your friends and family. Have a wonderful sporting week, guys. Bye.